Individual names like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Bill Gates spring to mind when we think of the richest people in America. However, the wealthiest families in America frequently have a deeper lineage, and in some cases, even deeper coffers. The attractiveness of wealthy families rejects a culture that idolizes riches and the wealthy. Hello, and welcome to our channel today. We'll be talking about another one of the richest families of the United States, the Phipps family. Faced with the anarchy that existed in England at the time, many English families went to the open borders of the New World, where they might escape persecution and poverty. People flocked to North America, Australia, and Ireland in droves, paying excessive fares for voyages on cramped, dangerous ships. Many of the settlers did not survive the lengthy voyage, but those who did arrived in North America were greeted with open arms. Many of the families that emigrated from England went on to contribute significantly to the growing countries of Canada and the United States. The name Phipps was used by some of the first immigrants to cross the Atlantic and arrive in North America. The Phipps family of the United States is a significant American family descended from businessman and philanthropist Henry Phipps Jr., 1839 to 1930. His father was an English shoemaker who immigrated to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in the early 1800s before settling in Pittsburgh. Andrew Carnegie was a friend and neighbor to Phipps growing up. Phipps was born in 1839 and raised in Pittsburgh. At the age of 14, Harry, as he was affectionately known, dropped out of school and began working as a jeweler's apprentice for $1.25 per week. He borrowed $25 from his brother and put an ad in the Pittsburgh Dispatch when he was 17. It said, "A willing boy wishes for work." Dilworth and Biddle, a manufacturer of iron and railroad spikes, hired him as an errand boy. Phipps studied accounting at night for 5 years before being promoted to bookkeeper and soon after partner. Another boyhood buddy, Thomas Miller, loaned Phipps $800 to invest in Andrew Cloman's new railroad equipment firm. The firm thrived and quickly began investing in steel factories. Andrew Carnegie became interested in it in 1865 and purchased Cloman and Phipps. Harry then went to work for his childhood friend, a position he would retain for the following 36 years. Phipps served as a mediator and diplomat between the increasingly hostile stockholders. More than anybody else, Phipps was responsible for Carnegie Steel's survival until its merger with U.S. Steel. When Carnegie and his partners sold the corporation in 1901, Phipps had 11% of the stock, second only to Carnegie's 58%. The transaction netted Phipps between $40 and $50 million. Although it would only account for a portion of his fortune. In 1907, he established a family office to handle his riches, which grew into Bessemer Trust, which is today one of the nation's largest asset managers. After selling his Carnegie Steel stock, Phipps became a strong champion for low-income housing and a big philanthropist. He believed that individuals who had amassed vast riches should contribute back to the general good and establish institutions to that end. The majority of Phipps's money was donated to charity. However, the exact amount of his generosity will never be known. He declined all interview requests, and he preferred to keep the majority of his presents to himself. In the 1880s, Phipps began his efforts to beautify Pittsburgh by giving to public parks, baths, playgrounds, and gardens. He is arguably most renowned for founding the Phipps Conservatory in 1893, which is one of America's premier botanical gardens to this day. Phipps's earliest charitable endeavors focused on increasing the quality of health treatment for the underprivileged. His first prey was TB. In January 1903, he established a new clinic in Philadelphia dedicated to TB research, treatment, and prevention. The center, which later amalgamated with the University of Pennsylvania, made specific efforts to reach African Americans who were infected with the illness. Later that year, Phipps established a similar institute in Baltimore, this time under the auspices of the Johns Hopkins Hospital. Phipps grew increasingly interested in strategies to improve housing for the urban working poor after becoming active in the TB campaign. In 1905, he gave $1 million to a new nonprofit organization that built houses for the needy in New York City. This charity, currently known as the Phipps Houses Group, has built over 6,000 units and has been one of the city's premier affordable housing developers for more than a century. Amy, John S., Helen, Henry Carnegie, and Howard were Phipps and Ann's 5 children. In 1907, Phipps founded the Bessemer Trust Company to handle his vast assets, which would be divided among his heirs after his death. Phipps was also a pioneer in Florida real estate investing. He and his family formerly controlled 1/3 of Palm Beach, 28 miles of coastline between Palm Beach and Fort Lauderdale, excellent downtown Miami bayfront property, and 75 square miles of land in Martin County. The Phipps family gave one of the most important contributions in Palm Beach County history, an ocean-to-lake frontage property that is now known as Phipps Park. The Phipps Conservatory and Botanical Gardens in Pittsburgh also made a gift. The Phipps family had country estates in Old Westbury, New York, on the Gold Coast, a stretch of property on Long Island's North Shore that once contained America's largest concentration of wealth and power. Phipps built a house on 115 acres near Lake Success, New York, also on the Gold Coast, and lived there from 1919 until his death in 1930. During World War II, John Phipps and his wife Margarita arranged for the residence to be used as a shelter for British refugees. The property was presented to the Great Neck School District by the family in 1949. The house was turned into the district's administration building, and Great Neck South High School and South Middle School were constructed on the site. Around 1920, the Phipps family's Bessemer Trust provided not only investments but also dog walking, maids, and a private train to shuttle family members between New York and Florida. The term Bessemer was derived from a steel-making technology that had aided in the enrichment of the Phipps. The Phipps family began enabling other rich families to use Bessemer Trust family office services in 1974. This enabled the organization to retain the scale necessary to attract potential employees and investors. Lindsay Goldberg and Bessemer, a middle-market private equity firm, was founded in 2001 by Bessemer Trust and Morgan Stanley's Alan Goldberg. Prior to the formation of LGB, Robert Lindsay of Bessemer Trust was in charge of private equity investments. The 2014 Family Wealth Assessment, a yearly assessment from an organization that assesses and ranks wealth management organizations, recognized Bessemer Trust with 3 major distinctions. Bessemer Trust received many honors, including Best National Multifamily Office and Best Fund Manager. With an estimated fortune of $8.6 billion, the Phipps family is among the wealthiest in the United States. Much of his fortune came from operating Bessemer Trust, the private bank and financial advisory business he founded in 1907. Denny Phipps served as Bessemer's chairman of the board from 1976 to 1994. From 1982 to 1994, he was chairman of Bessemer Securities Corporation, and he served on both boards until his retirement in 2015. The family is well known for owning vast properties across the United States. The Phipps family gave one of the most important contributions in Palm Beach County history, an ocean-to-lake frontage property that is now known as Phipps Park. The Phipps Conservatory and Botanical Gardens in Pittsburgh also made a gift. The Phipps family had country estates in Old Westbury, New York on the Gold Coast, a stretch of property on Long Island's North Shore that once contained America's largest concentration of wealth and power. Phipps built a house on 115 acres near Lake Success, New York, also on the Gold Coast, and lived there from 1919 until his death in 1930. During World War II, John Phipps arranged for the residence to be used as a shelter for British refugees. The property was presented to the Great Neck School District by the family in 1949. The house was turned into the district's administration building, and Great Neck South High School and South Middle School were constructed on the site. Thank you for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like the video and subscribe to our channel. See you next time.